I'm Carol Kelso, Thomasville Today, with a very important program this afternoon. We've brought in Major Wade Glover. So glad to have you here.
Glad to be here.
Let's talk a little bit about why you're here. It's extremely important information for our community, and so we're so grateful that you've got this programming going on and this information for us.
Okay. So today we're trying to get the message out that we're trying to inform, educate our citizens how to respond to an active shooter event. If they ever find themselves caught up in that type of situation, what would you do? Because really, at the end of the day, what you do matters. What you really do matters.
And how you react. Can you give us a broad description of, when you say active shooter, you know what you're talking about. I think we know it, but just go ahead and unpack that for us.
Well, you know, we talk about active shooter. We have people that are murdered and things like that, but active shooter is somebody that's actively killing somebody in an area, one or more people. If they're actively shooting, that's an active shooter event. And so this particular PowerPoint presentation, or this educational moment we have for our citizens, it is mainly for our civilian response to active shooter event.
Okay.
Law enforcement knows what we're going to do.
Right.
We need our civilians to understand what they need to do. And in the event they find themselves caught up in this, how can they maybe save their life, save somebody else's life? You know, the most important thing is the run, hide, fight concept.
All right.
Yeah. They have to run, if all possible, get out of that situation.
So whether you're in a mall or church or shopping center, parking lot, school.
Run.
Okay.
Run, run. That is your first thought process. And if you can't do that, then hide somewhere.
Okay.
And lock the doors and secure yourself and barricade the door so the shooter will not come in. And if at last resort, if you can't run and you can't hide, then you fight your way through it. You have the right to protect yourself and to fight for your life. So we try to get that on people to understand how important that is. You know, we want you to run and we want you to hide if you can't run. But if you have to fight, do whatever you necessary to fight for your life.
Okay. Now, we have? I'm sure the TPD has programming and events that we can attend and be more informed.
Yes, ma'am. So we recently had one here at the Municipal Auditorium, like a 2-hour presentation. And again, C.R.A.S E, which stands for Civilian Response to Active Shooter Event. And again, this PowerPoint is specifically for civilian response, not law enforcement response. So what we tell people that usually the specific time or target time for officers to respond to a scene and get there and get you some help is around 3 minutes. So think about how many people an active shooter can take out and shoot and how much damage he or she can do in those 3 minutes. So that's why it's necessary for you to have a plan to protect yourself.
So if I walk into a movie theater, if I walk into church, I need to know where all the exits are.
Exactly.
Every single exit.
Exactly. Know where your exits are. You need to sit strategically so you can understand if I have to get to that exit, I can get there. I not only can get there, I can get my family there, my children there, my loved ones there. Because we have learned active shooters do not discriminate. It doesn't make a difference who you are. Children, adults, it doesn't make a difference. They will take anybody out. That's their mindset.
So this is such an informative program, and so it's about 2 hours.
Yes, ma'am.
Now I know we've got one coming up in September, but this program is probably going to run quite a while. So how do we reach out? We just call the TPD if it's after September 20th? Is that what you said?
Yes, ma'am. So we're having one at the Connection Church, which is a Tuesday evening.
On Smith Avenue.
Yes, ma'am. And it's from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Connection Church. It's about a 2.5-hour presentation, giving time for people to ask questions and things like that. And again, we'll keep offering these, and so we'll set those dates as we get through the next one. Then we'll set the next date, depending on our schedule and things like that. But we want to afford everybody an opportunity to at least come to the presentation and learn some things that maybe can help save their life.
And we have a very blessed community, as you know. And can you recall any situation within the schools or anywhere within our city that?
Yeah, we had something similar to this back in 2012, but thank God the shooter took himself out. But we haven't had anything in our schools. And again, let me echo what you just said. We have a great, great community. Everything the Thomasville Police Department does revolves around one thing, and that's our community. So that's what we do. And so we have school resource officers in every school.
Every single school.
Every single school has a school resource officer available, and we're actively training the officers. We're actually in discussion with our school superintendent about training some of those teachers. And the school is also taking a sense of ownership and saying, listen, we can't depend on law enforcement to do all this training. So we as a school need to be prepared and prepare our teachers, our students, our facilities, our faculty, and also our students in case we're
Is
ever
that
caught.
right? Okay.
Yes, just in case we're ever caught in one of these situations.
Well, I can't speak for every school resource officer, but I do know in one particular school where my daughter is a teacher, he makes a point to learn the children's names, to find out about their families and where their classrooms are and who their teachers are. I mean, he does a super job, and you see him out there he has a very strong presence, which I'm sure they do in all the schools. It's just, I happen to go to this county school frequently.
Right.
So that's very encouraging for us to know that we've got quality people.
Yeah, and we got quality law enforcement, so it's obvious that if we have an active shooter event within our jurisdiction, other officers or other agencies will respond and assist us as well, because it'll be a chaotic scene if it ever happened here.
Yeah.
But I want people to understand, though, even though it's never happened, and we pray that it never will happen,
Right.
that they need to have the mindset to prepare themselves just in case it does happen.
Right. Don't be so laissez-faire, so, oh, it'll never happen here.
Exactly.
Because chances are then you kind of drop your awareness of wherever you are.
Exactly.
So it's just kind of I'm not saying be hyper vigilant, but you do need to be vigilant.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to be so fearful that you can't go somewhere or do things.
You're paralyzed.
But you want to be able to, if you have a plan and think about situational awareness, what would you do, or how would you respond if somebody came in this door and started shooting? You need to have that mindset before you go in there, and so you'll have a plan when you go, and you're fine. I promise you, you'll be fine.
And the good thing, everybody has a phone now.
Exactly.
So 911 is right there.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point. So we teach in this PowerPoint, if you find yourself in that situation where you can't run, you can't get out, and you have to hide, it's very important, if you have your cell phone, to silent that cell phone. You can still text and things, but can you imagine if somebody hears, or your loved one hears there's an active shooter where you may possibly, they're going to start calling you, and then the bad guy or whoever that person is coming down the hall shooting or whatever, they hear your phone go off. So it's always, and that's going to be very difficult for you to remember. But you have to remember that. You have to take a sense of ownership in your life, and you got to take some deep breaths, slow your breathing, get that stress level down so you can really have some good thought process in these
Good
things.
advice.
Yes.
Good advice.
Yes. And so, and again, I want to reiterate, let's talk about target availability. If you are not there, there's a good chance you're not going to get shot. So always try to find the fastest escape route as possible. And because, again,
so run, hide,
and fight. Run, hide, and fight. Because you have the right to fight for your life. And there's no legal thing saying that I can't.
You can't defend yourself.
Yeah, exactly. You have a right to defend yourself. If somebody's trying to actively shoot you and kill you, then you have the right to take them out. And so from a law enforcement response, as we arrive on scene, if you're caught up in that, there are certain things that we want you to be mindful of, and we'll teach you that in this presentation.
Okay.
So if you're caught up in a building that necessarily the active shooter is not in, but you're trying to get out, and the law enforcement say, hey, come out with your hands up high so we can see your hands. That's the things that you really listen to the officers. We're giving you commands that's not only going to save your life, but save officers. We don't know who has.
Sure.
So we've had incidents in the past where the actual shooter ran out the area behind the citizens, the actual people, the victims inside of the school. Just ran out, and law enforcement didn't know who it was. He just made himself part of that. So that's why we tell everybody, raise their hand and follow the commands of the officers.
I'm sure you have many, many important points in a 2-hour presentation, but that's one of the keys. Run, hide, fight, and then obey. Make sure you're listening to the law enforcement. Put your phone on silent. Those are super good advice.
You know, and again, it's easy for us to sit here and say, well, I'm going to do this, this, and this if it ever happens. But it's going to really tell the tale when you really get in that situation. So the more you prepare yourself, the more you plan as a family. Listen, when somebody comes
That's
in
good.
let's have a plan together.
Yeah,
Let's
sure.
escape together. If we find ourselves separated apart, we're going to meet here at this location.
Oh, that's
That
good.
is so important because I'm just like you and everybody else. We love our family and we want to know if they're okay. And that's what we do. Have that plan. Take a sense of ownership in your family's life because unfortunately, the world we live in today, we have to plan, we have to prepare.
And you mentioned earlier, sometimes some of us, when we get caught, we're like that rabbit that just freezes. So if you take deep breaths, kind of recenter, figure out where you are, what's happening, instead of just going crazy haywire.
Yeah. Take those
And
deep breaths.
standing there not doing anything.
Exactly, because that stress level is going to make, that's the way we were made. So you're either going to freeze, flight, or fight. So we want you to make sure that you are running away from the fight. Not everybody here, carries a firearm.
Right.
Even though certain laws give you the right to do so in certain locations. But most people don't even have a firearm, won't know how to shoot one if they did have one. But there are people out there. And so when we recently had one here, not here in Thomasville, but other areas, where, we had a citizen take out a shooter. Kudos to him. Done a great job. And that's the mindset you got to have. I mean, that's the beauty about it. Even the active shooter don't know who all's got a gun now.
Right.
So if you're that person that has that forethought and understand that, make sure you're trained properly. Make sure you follow those procedures, and you can do what you need to do. But see, there's other things you got to think about. If you're going to be that person that says, okay, well, I'm going to take this shooter out.
Right.
Well, once that bullet comes out into your gun, you're responsible for it. So if it misses the shooter and hits another citizen or another victim, so those are the things that you have to look at. So, but proper training, being prepared, will definitely.
And of course, the TPD offers training.
Yes, we do.
For citizens.
Yeah. So
can we go to your website?
yes, we can.
Okay.
Yes, we can. So we can go to our website. You can see there. We also they have a public safety shooting range out there.
Right.
And there's some certified instructors out there that you can go out there to learn how to shoot. Many people go and purchase firearms, but they never go out and shoot them, how to operate them, so things like that. So definitely encourage them to go out to the public safety shooting range, not public safety, but the public shooting range, and have them meet the instructors out there, and they'll show them how to work their guns and all that stuff. And so you can properly.
Ben, they take really good care of you. I mean,
Yes.
from time you get out of your car with your pistol, shotgun, whatever, to the time you leave.
Yeah, because we got to make sure we understand what we have. We have a loaded weapon here at all times. So yeah, if you're one of those people that really want to arm yourself, just do it the right way. Just make sure you're properly trained and understand how to operate your weapon.
Well, Wade, I cannot stress enough. You've been with the department 34 years.
Well, 30 years
total.
with the city, but I've been a police officer about 34 years altogether.
Can't stress to you how grateful our community is for what your department does, what you policemen do, and the fact that you put your life on the line every day, every time you step out the door, I'm sure. So we just, I commend you. I commend your whole department. We're just so happy to have the quality of men and women serving and keeping us safe. So thank you again.
Thank you. And we are very blessed. We have a great group of men and women at our agency. We have a great leadership. We have a good community support, which is the most important thing.
It really is.
Yeah, and we have, city manager down from city council down, all the way down. They support us, and that means a lot, especially in today's, trial and things that we have to go as far as law enforcement. But, law enforcement in itself has changed. It's more of a police service as opposed to a law enforcement now. So we're more of a guardian mindset versus a warrior mindset.
Right.
So most of the time in an active shooter event, that's a warrior mindset.
Exactly.
So we're going to go in and you've heard people say this, but we really will. I mean, if you go in and start killing our citizens and our babies and our children, we're going to go in there and we're going to kill you back. So we want people to understand that. And again, if you find yourself caught up in an active shooter event and you're laying there and maybe you got shot, our response will be to take out the shooter first. We may go step over you. We want to take out. We want to stop the killing first.
Sure.
Then we're going to come back and we're going to regroup and we're going to start applying tourniquets and we're going to start saving lives. But people need to understand that too.
Yep.
But yeah, we are very fortunate. We have a great community and we thank you all for your support.
Great instruction. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms.
Can't wait to follow up and hear some more about it and get you in here next year and see how everything's going.
It'll be great.
All right. That's Major Wade Glover with the Thomasville Police Department. Thank you so much for watching. We hope you learned some things, and we hope you continue to stay informed about how to keep the community connected, and be sure to thank a police officer. Thank you so much for watching.